Um, I still have some people coming in. Hold on, let them in. Oh, I see some fours, some nines. Great, Mia. Some 7.5, sevens, threes. Mackenzie, we have to talk offline, Mackenzie, because you always seem like you're. All right. Jarvis 8. All right, so now, yeah, yeah. All right, we still have some people coming in. All right, I am. I'm excited about today. I want to kind of. It's kind of like this will be the moment for the ninth graders to create their what they kind of propose as their ideas. You're gonna model of it. Hopefully, at least start. And then for you guys who are coming to me from the that are from another class that are in the 10th grade, we're going to kind of go over what nature based and biomimicry is, and I'll maybe give you some ideas and inspiration on what type of solutions you could potentially create. And I did say that we're going to focus on Cypress Creek, so I did put some stuff up there this week on our Canvas class that talks about Cypress Creek. So I want to make sure all of you all have signed up, logged in to Canvas. And so if you have not done so already, please go ahead and sign up, accept my invite for Canvas. I need for you all to do that. And when you notice, when you go to the online class, all right, I'm manning the ship today by myself. Lido had to go to the doctor. Um, so you're going to notice when you log into my Canvas account that you're going to see the checkpoints listed on the main page. I leave that up there. Is what we're doing, where we're headed. I think it's important. And you know what? That reminds me, I need to send an announcement out about the competition for those of you who want to be a part of that. Um, so anyway, on the main page are the checkpoints. I listed it. I made this, and everything, all the work is in the modules for my class. So I put everything in modules. I lost somebody. All right, so the crosstown high expectations. Oh, let's just say I just saw an error. Edit order 3, not 2. All right. All right. So anyway, crosstown expectations, the same thing since the beginning. That's nothing new. So that's on here. I put in the checkpoint document here as well. After that, an overview of the course, and then I have the grading policy up. And so I just want to go over this real quick. Some of you all have had me all along, and you guys noticed my ninth graders. I kind of like gave you I didn't really put that many zeros in, and if I did, I put half the points. I was really strategic about like how I would put in zeros. Sometimes I put zeros in and encourage you to get it done, and so you go ahead and do it. Oh, I forgot. I'm gonna get that done. Great. I take work all the way up to the very last minute. So I will take it. If you do it, I will take it. I will grade it. If it's like one of those formative assignments that lead up to the checkpoint, I generally put a zero in for that spot, or depends if you hadn't turned it in. If you have like 100-point assignment, I generally put a 50 down. All right. Yes, you do have an assignment on Friday. So like all of my due dates are due Friday. So all the work during the week, I have it where everything's due that Friday. I never did asynchronous Friday work this whole time because I thought that was silly. Don't tell anybody. I just didn't do it. I just made everything due Friday. I was like, why am I gonna give y'all extra work on top of extra work? Like, I'm not doing that. So I just never did it. I just made everything due Friday. Um, so I bucked the system. So if it's 100 points, I generally put a 50 down if you don't get it done. So I don't know. Maybe somebody could tell me like what what is the range for you to earn an F? Can somebody tell me that? What is that range?
I think it's zero. Well, hold up. I think 69 to,
The zero.
yeah, I think.
Right. So 69 to a zero. So like you got 69 ways to get an F. That's messed up. I'm sorry. And what's the range between a C and a D and a C?
I think it's
70 to
74.
74.
Right. 70 to 74. What's that, like 5 points? 5 point difference?
Four.
Four, 4 or 5. Yeah. Then you got 70. Then from a C to a B, it's like,
75, 85.
yeah. And then difference between an A and a B. The ranges are ridiculous, y'all. I'm sorry. I just don't agree with the fairness of that at all. So I generally have my cutoff starting at 50. All right, because like it's still a fail, but it's not a heavy hitter fail. So if you have a 50 and you start doing the work finally, you'll start seeing your grade rise. You go ahead and do the work you didn't turn in, you'll really see your grade rise. So you can go from a F to a B real fast, or an A. It's happened. So get the work done. I honestly want everybody in here to have an A. I don't have a problem with it. I'd rather just have A straight down the board. All right. So that's
Miss Wallace, I have a question.
yes.
So if we have like late work, how do we contact you to like notify that we turned it in for
It's
like recess?
I should see it. So when you go in the grades, well, see, nobody's grades are in right now. I'll get this thing that look like a little letter that pops up and I can see it. But if y'all send me an email, if you let me know, hey, Miss Walls, I turned this in, that'll make me check it faster. Because I'll go in and I'll look to see if there's something submitted here. And it'll look like a paper has been turned in, a little icon for a paper. And that's how I know to go back in and go grade that. All right. So it's easier for me if you do go in and say, Ms. Wallace, hey, I didn't turn it in. I turned this in. Can you grade it? That I don't have a problem with it. You're not bothering me. Okay. Because I have a lot of stuff going, many hats I wear. Okay. And so, but for you guys as students, y'all my priority. So I will go in and grade it as I get it. That way it doesn't pile up on me. Because it can be overwhelming, especially because I got so many kids this time. So many of you guys are here. I have almost, I hadn't even counted how many students in here. Kind of scared too. I think I have about 300 students, I think, because we have 130, 130, 260, probably about 270 students. So this time. So it's a lot. All right. So what we're gonna do is, so that's my game plan. All right. And sorry, I forgot the other module. All right. So I'm gonna go back to modules now. Anything else I need to go over?
I don't know if you answered this already, but I was asking, did we have an assignment for last Friday?
No. And so what this is all right, so I have a Flipgrid assignment up. And what I like for you all to do, if you don't mind, and especially my ninth graders, because ninth graders know that XQ is going to take pieces of their presentations and their pieces that I've been curating, and they're going to make a film about what I'm doing. And so I asked them to they know that they were recorded, and like they're going to have pieces of it in this film. I don't know what it's going to look like in the end. So but I need for especially my ninth graders to do the reflection piece that's listed on week 1. So that's something I really need for you all to do, so that you can at least tell how the project went and what was your project about, and if you liked it or you didn't like it or whatever it is, so be it. If you are a 10th grader, I would love for you all to tell me how your project went with your last teacher. So that'd be awesome if you could reflect on that and put that in the Flipgrid. I am still, and I forgot to ask, and I was just at a meeting with some teachers last hour. I don't know how to make this a graded assignment on Flipgrid yet. I don't know how to do that. So I got to figure out that part. Because I don't ever want to just give you work and not give you points for it. So I generally give you points for anything you do. It helps. All right. So that is the assignment from last week, which is not really a major assignment. So, all right. And so this week I have nature-based solutions, meet biomimicry. I have how to build a 3D model with Tinkercad. So that is not a graded assignment because it's just instructions, but I made it where it would show up on your calendar. Ha! I didn't know how to do that before, your to-do list or whatever. So that's on here. And then you're going to have, oh, I just created this because I want you to submit your 3D model here. I'll put the rubric in. I forgot to do that. I'll go back and put the rubric in. And then this is the intro part to what we're going to be designing solutions to. And then as we are designing solutions, as we go more intentional into about the water, how do we get our water and all stuff like that, and is our soil and safe and stuff like that. I want to make sure we're building up our knowledge to be able to address this story about Cypress Creek and why it's so important and what's going on there. So I've put in some information about this area and some information about different resources that you can use, hopefully to start ideating and coming up with some real solutions to help that community. Okay, so but we're going to start off first. There's nothing doing this except for your proposed plan that may help that community. Okay, and so that's all I'm looking for in here. It's just these 5 questions I'd like for you to think about. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and get started with my presentation. And I have a question. And and this is more geared towards the sophomores. Like, if I said something that was nature-based solutions, what am I talking about? Do you have any idea what that is? What is that? Nature-based. I keep saying that word. What is that?
I think it would be, you're talking about pulling like adaptations from like things in nature and using them to human experience and human life and development.
Right. So taking things from nature and using it for human purposes, right? All right. Yeah, definitely. That's 100%. 100%. Any of the, can I get maybe one of the 9th graders to say, like, can y'all tell me one of the nature-based, someone tell me about their nature-based solution they came up with?
Okay, I guess I could say like what my group came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when we were working on our project, my group, we came up with making a we came up with making a trash can, making a realistic trash can look like a Venus flytrap that's like powered by solar panels, and so it opens and it closes like when trash is entered and when trash is not entered. Um, like it can connect to a a chute or like a metal basket that holds the trash, and then we also said that we were gonna. You right, Jara. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Our nature-based solution was to plant flowers, vegetables, fruit trees to create diversity with like in the area that we chose. So it would be like more of like a community garden.
Thank you. That's really awesome. So you gave me a biomimetic and you gave me a nature-based solution. So thank you so much for that. So your trash cans serve 2 biomimetic functions. So it's an aesthetic thing that's more nature, and then a natural design. And then also you have the solar panels, which would be biomimetic. Your solar panels are actually built on the premise of how our leaves function to get energy from the sun. So that is one. Those were 2 things that was in that. And then the other thing was the community garden, which was in your nature-based solution. Okay. So thank you for sharing. So I'm going to just play a video real quick to kind of give you an overview of that, and maybe even some ideas about what you could be thinking about as some nature-based solutions you might be able to create that might help an urban environment, because we're going to be looking more in the urban areas, not necessarily, or not rural, but urban. So heavily populated areas that people live in the cities, and we really are looking in the context of Memphis. So let me go ahead and start this.
Climate change.
And let me just preface this for you guys who already know this. This is just a review, kind of so you can remember how or what we were trying to do for nature-based solutions. All right.
One of humanity's most pressing challenges. Compromising our food and water security. Affecting our health. Risking our economic and social well-being. And undermining the ecosystems on which we depend. Threatening our very existence. The global community is mobilizing in the fight against climate change, yet it often undervalues one powerful ally, nature. Nature plays a critical role in reducing carbon emissions and helping nations and communities adapt to a changing climate. Natural ecosystems absorb and store carbon. Oceans absorb over 25% of annual emissions of carbon dioxide, but overburdening them carries its own risks. Terrestrial ecosystems store almost 3 times the amount of carbon found in the atmosphere. Halting deforestation and restoring degraded land can cut carbon pollution equivalent to the yearly emissions of all the cars in the world. Natural ecosystems protect against climate-related disasters. Coastal wetlands in the United States provide $23 billion worth of storm protection each year. IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, has been a pioneer in advancing nature-based solutions to climate change for almost a decade, working with local and global communities to implement them effectively. It's time to act. Time to restore forests. Time to safeguard wetlands. Time to conserve oceans. Time to implement nature-based solutions. IUCN, championing the vital role of nature in tackling humanity's greatest challenges. Join us in unlocking the power of nature. No solution is complete without it.
All right, so IUCN. So I think it is interesting, and here comes somebody else who's, all right. I really feel like it's so interesting that we are thinking about innovation. We're thinking about what we can do next to really help us challenging us to really think about ways to solve the environmental problems in our of our now. But we're really having to go back and look to see what nature, who's been here for thousands of years, has already done to solve these problems that we've created. So one of the things that I think is so cool right now is the fact that, you know, natural things that have already been in these hostile environments, have been able to terraform and change the earth, are there. And we just, as humans, are just now paying attention to the cool technology that nature has already been doing. So one of the things I think as humans, we often think that we are so much smarter or so much more advanced than what's already established. But we're starting to realize that maybe, hey, we need to go back and look at what's in our natural environments and really understand how that works so that we can solve the issues that we've created as a human species on Earth if we're going to save the Earth. So I just think that to me is something that I was just like, man, it just makes you aware that even though we are humans, even though we are smart in our own rights, right? We have self-conscious thought. We still need to rely on plants and animals of the world to really get us to the next step of being very, finding a way to be harmonious with the natural world that we live in. So we definitely love technology. We still want to drive our cars, but we still have to create those solutions that are going to help us through that we protect our environment that we love. I thought Sanaya was in here earlier. Huh. Okay. All right. So after I play this video, I like to invite you all to think about what are some nature-based solutions that they've identified in this video. And then if you're in a 9th grade, we're going to go to Tinkercad in a little bit. If I'd like for you to go at some point, look and see if you can still get into Tinkercad, if you can split your screen and maybe see if you can log into Tinkercad. Here we go.
Earth's climate is changing. There has been almost 1 degree Celsius of warming since pre-industrial times, and this is causing glaciers to retreat, ice caps to melt, and sea levels to rise. Moreover, there is evidence that this warming is increasing the frequency and intensity of droughts, floods, crop failures, of fires and storms right across the globe. How do we adapt to such rapid environmental change? How do we thrive in the face of these challenges? And how do we adapt and thrive in such a way that slows further change? In many parts of the world, the dominant approach to dealing with the hazards of climate change has been static engineered interventions, such as sea walls, wells, and irrigation infrastructure. These can be very expensive, but very effective, at least in the short term. However, in many situations, nature can provide a more affordable long-term solution. Humans have harnessed nature to buffer the impacts of climate variability for millennia, but it is only recently that evidence and awareness has grown that the restoration and protection of nature can not only safeguard biodiversity, but also help people adapt to the effects of climate change. Moreover, by absorbing and storing carbon, these nature-based solutions can slow further warming on a global scale. So let's now take a specific example. Coastal habitats, such as coral reefs, seagrass meadows, and mangrove forests, protect coastlines from the damaging effect of wave erosion and tropical storms. They slow the intrusion of salt water that can damage crops and livestock. They safeguard biodiversity and provide a wide range of ecosystem services. In other words, they protect and support communities in the face of climate change. Moreover, healthy mangroves absorb and store large amounts of carbon. However, when these ecosystems are damaged or destroyed, for example, when mangroves are converted to shrimp farms, when overfishing, boats, and bleaching damages coral reefs, communities are exposed to the full fury of storms and sea level rise. They lose their property and their crops, and they have fewer natural resources to support alternative livelihoods. An engineered solution to the problem of degraded or destroyed coral reefs is to place concrete balls reinforced with microcilia in the waters to allow photosynthesis and planktonic life to regenerate in degraded areas. While effective in regulating the action of waves and reducing damage to coastlines, biological diversity is very low around concrete, and the balls do not provide any other benefits to society. The nature-based alternative is to manage and restore the ecosystem and maintain biological richness. A teeming reef provides habitat, spawning, and nursery grounds for economically important fish species. It can provide jobs and income to local economies from fishing, from recreation and tourism. It is also a vital source of medicine and has great cultural value. And of course, the high genetic diversity it harbors gives future generations many options. Now, the restoration of coral reefs is just one example of a nature-based solution to climate change. Others include agroforestry to stabilize crop yields in drier, more variable climates, and forest restoration in river catchments to secure water supplies and protect communities from flooding, erosion, and landslides. And as with the reefs, restoring nature in this way also protects vital life support systems and slows the rate of change. It increases our well-being and makes us resilient and adaptive in a rapidly changing world. Ultimately, nature is our closest ally in the fight against the causes and the consequences of climate change, and we can only develop sustainably by taking its full value into account. So let us work together to make sure that nature is central to decision-making in business and in government for the benefit of people and planet.
All right, can someone tell me a nature-based solution you saw in the video? Whew. Can someone?
Say that question one more time, please.
Yeah, can you identify a nature-based solution that was mentioned in the video?
Ecosystems or like climate change or something like that.
Right, so they did talk about ecosystems and climate change, and then they also talked about like some specific solutions maybe for solving climate change or even solving this problem of the coral reefs. Can anybody recall anything from the video that was nature-based?
They talked about the ball to create more biodiversity near the concrete areas, and I think help with the wave tide.
Right, those coral balls they were talking about, I believe it was like, it was, they were balls they would seed down there to get the corals to start growing back again. So that was one solution, yep. Yep. Anybody else, anything else? Anybody else? You may be asking yourself, like, how in the world, Ms. Walls, you expect me to come up with a nature-based solution that's going to help the environment? I have no idea. All right. But that's okay. All right. So I have a site that we use that I have been using last quarter, and it's called asknature.org. Okay. And asknature.org, and I'll put this in the chat box too. And I'll share this PowerPoint with you as well, so you can go back if you need to. Asknature.org is a website that is pretty much a big database of information. And what it is, it tells you, if you scroll down, it actually gives you some examples of nature-based solutions that have been used. In this case here, so how does nature protect from pathogens? How does nature sustain community? So if you click here, there's a collection of stuff that about how nature can be used to sustain community. And then there's some stuff in here about how does nature encourage resilience? Fighting back and preventing lots of change. How does nature do that? So there's some interesting reads and information on here. And then there's some biological strategies, inspired ideas, and different collections. So if I click, let's say I clicked on inspired ideas, you'll notice that they're going to give you a database of solutions that have already been created by companies or universities or individuals or that out there or researchers may have decided like, this they use nature, and they may have, for instance, in this one, this floating underwater filter. All right, they use this company, this floating coconut was developed to actually pull out plastic pollution in rivers. All right, so that's one system that's used, and it's mimicking the coconut. It says this floating design aims to collect and direct free-flowing plastic pollution in rivers before it has a chance to reach the ocean. It uses the fins of inspired by the manta ray and basking shark to collect small pieces of plastic. So based on this fin structure, these coconuts were developed that are used to actually clean the rivers, these large areas of water, to remove trash and debris and plastics from it. So that's someone's solution. And there's just a litany of different solutions that have been produced and come up with. If you go through this database and dig in here. And then there are some biological strategies that researchers have found out about. There's a bunch of different articles that are linked in here with what they did. Like this one was a honeycomb structure is space efficient and strong. So these group of scientists looked at these structures, and then they you might think about ways you could maximize this new information to maybe develop a new structure or something that's in a small space. So there's just a lot of information here, and you have if you go to the top, you can actually search. Like if I want to know stuff about walls or something like that, there's stuff in it. It'll search keywords. If I want to know about like chemical cleanup or something like that, I could type that in. And it can give me like what some biological strategies are, and maybe even some inspired ideas. So there's like one inspired idea up here, and then four biological strategies here. So like you can there's just different things you can look up in here. And so I think this is a great tool for you to use to really dive in and dig around and see what's there. Okay. And so that's what the ninth graders use, this website and a few other ones, to come up with some nature-based and biomimetic solutions to solve problems in their immediate backyards, their neighborhoods they live in or they're close to. So they have done that legwork. And you guys who are 10th graders, I want you to start thinking about, Ms. Wallace mentioned this thing about Cypress Creek, and maybe I'm going to end up starting to make a solution to this Cypress Creek. Like what's going on in Cypress Creek that I could possibly start thinking about ways to fix a problem. So maybe you might want to identify a problem in Cypress Creek, or even in your backyard. It doesn't have to be Cypress Creek, it could be in your backyard now, in your own community, that you could fix. That's an environmental issue in your immediate community. And I would like for you guys to model what that looks like. And that's why I asked you all to go ahead and for those to go into Tinkercad. So that's where we're headed. And so in the module, I have how to build a 3D model with Tinkercad. And in this, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, last semester we tried to make chairs with this, and we kind of got some people picked it up real quickly and some people had a hard time with it. So what I'm hoping is that with these direct starters, so when you click on these things, they'll actually show you how to move objects around, and like you'll get like this celebration, like, yay, you did this task, and they'll have all these confetti flying around, and you can hit done, and then you'll hit next. I think this one, if I go back and reset it, let me reset it. Let me reset it, go back. I'm gonna say reset, yes. So with this one, it asks me to set the block in the middle. That's all. just showing you how to move stuff around and then hit next. So bam, real easy, right? And so you're just gonna go through all the different modules related to how to move, turn things around, how to rotate it, how to size it, how to group it, how to align it. So there's some tutorials here on how to get started. And then when you go through those tutorials, I'd invite you to watch these videos after you've like kind of come up with a solution that you want to try to create. You know, you could watch these videos and it kind of shows you like how you could potentially do that. Like this is the Scribble tool, and they show you how to make a new form using the Scribble tool. Then they show you how to make it into the third dimension, and then they show you how to even put like a person in it to show how it would potentially work. All right, how you can upload an image into this space. And one of the things that can be a little bit tricky are making these images. So you might want to think about when you go into Tinkercad. All right, what's my group? What is this with your group? Is this with your group? No, this is going to be by yourself, Riley, this time, okay? So everyone's going to attempt to try to do this on your own, okay? Because you guys are going to get regrouped. I'm going to shift you around a little bit, okay? What was I trying to say? Okay. I'm going to go back out to Tinkercad. I want to get out of this tutorial. And I'd invite you all to go to the gallery that's there. And let's say your solution is you want to work, I'm going to hit search, and then I'm going to say, I want to think of ways that I can prevent flooding on the interstate. Okay. So I want to type in maybe a highway and see what somebody else has designed for a highway system that I could copy. And I'm gonna click this Wild Goose Chase Apocalyptic Highway, right? So if it has copy and tinker, I can copy and tinker that and manipulate it to change it around to do something that I want it to do. So it's actually zoomed out pretty high. It takes a while to upload. That's the only thing I will say. And I don't want any guns on my stuff. So I went through and deleted it on mine. So I don't want these guns on there. I just want the vehicle. Get rid of that top. And I don't need this truck on this side either. So maybe I want to think about like, I've got flooding is my problem. I might put a sphere down here. Oh, wow. I didn't know all this stuff was on here. It did not show up on my last one. Might put like a blue line about flooding. Like, how can I design some solutions? Go away, green car. That would help with flooding. And so I might go find some images of some plants I might want to put around that area to maybe, or some more trees that I might show that could probably absorb the excess water in that area. So I'm just modeling like what solution I could come up with that you all have already come up with. So use the gallery, use the import buttons, use the export buttons to design these solutions, okay? So I'm gonna put up the code for this class, which is 6th period. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the task that I would like for you to do by Friday. So I don't know why I'm so cold today. Jeez, it's freezing. All right, so I'm going to I think I already started. Some of y'all have already started logging in. So I'm gonna display the link again for the Tinkercad, and then the code if you need it for whatever reason, but the code should be in the link anyway, so you might not need the code. If anybody gets stuck and can't get on there, can you let me know? If it asks you for a nickname for some weird reason, hopefully it won't, but If it does, then I can assign you a nickname so that you can get into this. But this is the platform I'd like for you to use. Are there more? Sure. Yes, Jira.
So I'm just trying to catch up. So we using Tinkercad to make to show our nature-based solution for our group.
Yep. So you'll pick one aspect that you will focus on. So your group isn't good. I'm breaking your teams up, right? So think about your project overall. Think about what you guys did in your project. Pick one solution, one problem, one solution, and make a 3-dimensional model about that. Okay. And Ive says it needs a name, so I'll give you a name.
So we have to join with the clay or with the username?
You might need a nickname.
Wait, so do we join under email or nickname?
I'll give you a nickname. So I'm going to add Ives right now. So this is Ives. And now Ives has, I see Anna needs one. Save changes. Yeah. Save changes to save it. All right. Janae needs one. There you go. Who else needs one? Let's see. Thank you for those of you who are putting your names in the chat box saying you need one. That helps me out a lot. Okay. All right, Mackenzie. I'm typing in the wrong place. All right, here we go.
I got one.
I see you. Jack.
Well, not good. I'm not bad. For she telling you to your nickname that you gotta use because you gotta go to the app.
Ms. Wallace.
Yes.
I already got it. Okay.
Do we click join with username or email or username? I mean join with nickname or email and username.
Your nickname. I have to give it to you. Here you go, Max. I'm erasing. Max.
I think I just joined, but I'm not sure. How do I actually do it?
So when you go in, does it let you start a new project once you're in? Otherwise, it won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
do I have to go to new project? Then I have to put the code in, or what?
if you go to new project, then you're already in, I think.
Okay.
Because we did this when we did the chairs, remember? So you have your information plugged in. Who else needs a nickname?
I need one.
Me too.
And paste. There you go. And Me Too is, I'm not sure who Me Too was. Who was that?
Malachi needs one as well.
Oh, Malachi. That might already be in here. All right, Malachi, copy, save changes. There you go. And anybody else? Anyone else?
I do.
All right, Adam. Okay. Yours is easy. Save changes. All right. Anybody else? If you've ever used it before, you may not need a nickname, but if you haven't,
Yeah, I need one.
Colin. Copy, save. And here you go.
Wait, what are we supposed to be making a Tinkercad about again?
You're going to choose one nature-based or one bio nature-based
Okay, so,
yeah.
so we need to make one about what is it? About what is it? God dang. Shoot. Something about nature-based solution thingies, something like that.
Yes.
Okay, something that has to do with nature-based. Okay.
There you go. Oh man. All right, Paola. How do you say your name? Yes, Riley, you can do your solution at your teammate. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yes. How do you say your name?
You said it right earlier, Paola.
Paola? Okay, good. All right. So, did you have a question? Oh yeah, I put your nickname in the chat. And Callie. Is that Callie? Can you say your name? Because so I can say it right. I think it's Callie or And John Terry, I see you said, how do I make blocks stack on top of each other? I see that. Jara, yes, what's up?
I still need the nickname.
Oops. Typing in the wrong place. Copy. There you go, Jara. Anybody else need to log in? Or a nickname? Anyone else?
Miss Wallace, are we making our own or are we recreating one from the other link?
So, great question. What I love to see, now what I would love for you guys, you can either recreate one that you've seen on Ask Nature, you're like, oh, this would be kind of cool to maybe think about how I can clean up my own personal community. And this is what that would look like. You can recreate it in the context of where we are in Memphis, you know, or you can come up with something new. But I'm not going to challenge you yet to go that far and in that in depth yet. But you're eventually going to, I want you all to think of in terms of how can I marry like nature, natural based solutions and biomimicry together to make a new solution. Okay, but not at this point. Right now, we're trying to get our modeling skills down because it's going to take a few iterations of this to get it done. So that when you get towards the end of this project and you're getting ready to sell your story and this is what your team has come up with, that you all are able to work in this Tinkercad as a medium to like show.
Ms. Wallace.
Yes.
So what are we supposed to be looking for on Tinkercad, basically?
So on Tinkercad, you are using that to design your solution, but you got to have a solution first that you're going to design, right? So what I want you all to do is to go on to asknature.org and to look around for some solutions. And I wasn't finished with my presentation. I was just getting started. So we are going to go in a second after everybody's gotten in to go over some more solutions you could think about. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Destiny needs a login. I'm trying to get my ninth graders as well. They've already started on this. I want them to go ahead and start. All right. Here's Destiny, and then let me save this. Jarvis. Save changes. And here you go, Jarvis. All right. Anybody else? Did I miss anyone? Paris. All right. Oops. Whoopsie. I forgot to copy it. All right, Paris. There we go. 80. All right. Yes, Manaya, exactly. There you go, Paris. Anyone else? I'm losing people left and right. Hold on, folks dropping off. All right, anyone else? Okay. All right, so everyone's able to at least get on a Tinkercad at this point, I hope. Okay. All right, so comes Ariana back in. Okay, so hopefully you are able to get a Tinkercad. Now, I want to kind of go through. So I showed you a video about nature-based solutions, all right? And I want to go through biomimetic solutions. Like that's something else I want us to look at. So how in the world am I going to search and be able to figure out solutions that, you know, I could potentially use in my environment to solve a problem, all right? So I have some examples of things that have already been used in real life. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen the burdock seeds, or those, like, I think in Memphis, in the South, we call them kookaburras or burrs or something. I don't know. They're the little square thing, the little seeds you walk through the grass and they stick to your skin, your clothes and stuff, and they won't come off and it's hard to come off. So those are called burdock seeds. And actually humans have modeled the burdock seed to create Velcro. So those hooks that's on the burdock seeds were replicated on the Velcro, and it likes to stick to soft material. So we use that as like a fastener. So that's one example how biomimicry was used. You're fine, Ariana. I get it. I am recording this, so I'm recording this, and then I'm gonna post it for everyone to, if you're having issues, you can go back and watch, I hope, okay? So burdock seeds is one example of a biomimetic way of solving a problem, of figuring out how to create a fastener. All right, another tool that has been created as a result of looking at nature is this, how these hoses that we use, this is a muscular hydrostat. So it says the elephant's trunk is extremely agile muscular hydrostat containing no bones. And so some of the hoses that we use, I don't know, like I always go to hardware and you see these like on tubes that are gonna contain a lot of pressure from water or gas. They have these hoses that bend. So these are some tools that are modeled on that whole premise of how the elephant trunk moves. And then this looks like some hands even designed to pick up stuff like the trunk of an elephant's nose. Another example of even biomimicry is like looking at the kingfisher. There were a group of architects, researchers, engineers that designed the fastest train based on the beak of a kingfisher bird. So that's one example of something useful. And then this is a wetland ecosystem that was repurposed, redesigned A lot of times we tend to knock these over. We tend to get rid of wetlands, but actually wetlands serve a purpose. These plants in this environment are essential for helping to purify out new sediments and purifying water, right? Removing contaminants and bacteria and stuff like that from it so that you actually use it and it's clean. So a lot of people are studying how the wetlands function so that they can recreate it to make water filtering systems. So these are just some classic examples of biomimicry. But the wetland, I would invite you to think about that's more of marrying biomimicry with nature-based. So this is nature following, and we're replicating it to solve a problem of cleaning the water. So that serves two dual purposes there. Why is that important? There's three words that are really, you might hear or you might think about. And I think some of my teams last semester came up with some biophilia ways, especially the team that had the idea of using creating a trash can that looks like the Venus flytrap, but this solar powered. So that would kind of replicate, the solar panels are mimicking how leaves absorb energy. So that's where that idea came from. And they're actually modeling that manner. So they're using some nature-based or biomimetic solutions, but it had a biophilia feel to it because it was mimicking nature and the natural environment, okay? So biophilia is like this theory that humans tend to interact or be closely associated with other forms of life in nature due to an innate love for nature. And not only just biophilia, but biomorphic as well. So we like, as humans, to be in nature. I have, I don't know, if you took me last year, you saw the plants in my room, even though they were fake, but I had plants, everywhere in the room. We like to be outside. We like to be in touch with nature. That gives us a sense of peace and calm. And, that's something that kind of soothes and eases our mind. So something that a lot of architectures and people who are designers, they put plants in the environment, natural looking things, because it helps us feel better. And then biomorphic, things that resemble plants and animals, living forms, they make us feel better. They make us want to be a part of it. So biomorphic, we tend to make structures that look like things that are from living systems that are already in existence. And then biomimicry, we're actually imitating those models, systems, and elements of nature for the purpose of solving complex human problems. So when we're doing biomimicry, we're actually trying to solve them using the living systems and models that are out there. So according to xnature.org, biomimicry is a type of innovation that combines information from biology with the engineering process to design solutions that are inspired by nature's organisms and ecosystems. Biomimicry designers study the beneficial traits and functions of organisms as biological models to inspire sustainable design solutions. And they may study how organisms interact with each other and their environment with ecosystems and apply what they learn to create better processes. So you guys, your challenge to design new human technologies using nature that have already been around for millions of years. They've been able to adapt and to evolve and change and really figure out strategies that are going to let them live. There's this whole idea of biomimetic architecture. There's even a city in Zimbabwe where they have buildings that don't require air conditioning because they're built like the termite mounds. So there are other buildings and structures that are biomimetic that help solve problems that for instance this. Does anybody know what this looks like to them? Like what does this structure look like? It looks like a village, a place where people are living. What from nature is that kind of mimicking? Does anyone know?
It looks like ant hills to me. I don't know. Even very much like ants.
It does, doesn't it? That's exactly what I was thinking. It looks like something I want to take my foot and kick over, right? But ant hills, you know, the ant mounds, they actually serve a function. They're very, if you look at them and you go deep into them, they're like full of tunnels and without if you kind of like knock it over and really look at them, you can kind of see like sinkholes and stuff falling down, right? But you know, as kids, we always want to go kick them over just to see the ants scatter and go crazy. But like this, to me, that's exactly what this looks like. This is an opportunity for people to utilize small spaces to put a lot of people in. So, so a lot of this work began in the 60s. This whole idea, like, let's look at nature for design inspiration. All right, so there's a few more types of architecture, and this is bioluminescence, something that's classic that researchers have even used, and there have been companies that have attempted to use bioluminescence to provide lights that's natural based. There was actually a company, and I can share an article with you all about that as well, that tried to sell lamps that were with bioluminescence. And there were actually some ethical issues that arose out of that. Like, was it right to create these new plants that are able to have this luminescence? And what would that do to the environment? So there was a big debacle about that. And so the company, they did that initial funding. They tried to get started and then they got shut down because people started to say, hey, this is not gonna, I don't trust it. I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. I wish I wasn't so cold. I'm gonna be on the video. We can come. All right, so there are some key terms I'd like for you to kind of, all of us to be kind of aware of. One of them are, before we go further, biological models. These are just, you know, a biological model is any organism or system along with its associated strategies and traits that a biomimicry designer seeks to mimic or emulate. So you are modeling or some living systems traits for your purposes, okay? Organisms, of course, those are our plants and animals, anything alive. Ecosystems include all the organisms in a given area interacting. I don't know what's enough. She keeps trying to get in. Are you able to get in finally? Sanaya, you able to get in?
Yeah.
All right, I see you keep going in and out. Were you in my class earlier?
Yes.
Were you in the room?
Yes, I kept going in and out. I was in here when we was talking about like the different solutions, and he was going through the website, the
Ask Nature,
the 3D design thing. Yeah.
Oh, and Tinkercad. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I was just double checking. So I'll share this in the chat as well. This is the presentation I'm doing, and then I'll post this to Canvas. I'm not done with it. This is actually a pretty long presentation, but I'm not doing all this today. All right, we're gonna stop at the video, the next one on the video. But definitely words that we kind of need to have a common understanding about. Another one is traits. Those describe the particular characteristics or attributes of an organism, and then function, the action that something does. So one of the things you might think about, and you'll see in this next video, is like, how can we utilize the function of something to achieve the results of what we're trying to do? All right, there's biological strategies, which are how an organism trait works to perform a particular function. Design strategy describes how features of a design or technology works to produce a desired function. And then context. So this one says the interrelated conditions in which something exists or occurs. And in biology, this includes the environment and other conditions affecting the organism and influencing the development of its adaptive traits. So the immediate environment, what in our immediate surroundings are affecting or influencing different traits to come about, to be used for whatever purpose, all right? So that includes the criteria, the constraints, any factors or considerations affecting the success of the design solution. So you all are going to be creating your solutions in the context of urban environments, because that's what we're focused on. How do we help Memphis? Memphis is urban. And so we have a lot of people in this city. And so what do we do to help our urban environments? And there are still, you know, and we talked a lot last semester about biodiversity and the importance of having it and how that demonstrates a healthy ecosystem. So how can we really think about harnessing and ensuring that our urban places and spaces are healthy and rich in biodiversity, which in turn also will ensure that humans are healthy and also the plants and animals that are there. You guys, I can't even get over the fact that I was driving around the city yesterday and I was talking to a boyfriend and I was like, man, you know what? I never really paid attention. Like we'd be driving I used to drive on the expressway all the time and I would see the wooded area on the side of the expressway, but I never really paid attention to how they all connect to each other. And as I've been driving around and then looking at where these creeks go and why the interstate is going in a certain direction, and I've been really paying attention to where the water flows. And that actually has dictated a lot of like how our interstate systems are designed. And a lot of it I didn't even realize are all connected. We just see the road and the cars and the traffic and stuff, but I just started to actually start paying attention to the wooded areas along the interstate and by the houses, and like how do they connect with one another and where do the creeks run? Like it's just like, I don't know, it's like my mind has been open to another layer of my world that I see every day. So hopefully you'll get to the point where you're paying attention to other things as well and really think about how can we utilize that? What can we do with that? So I like to play, and then I'll share some more resources with you that you could use to research some nature-based or biomimetic solutions. And this video is actually about the lady that has been, I wouldn't say she invented nature-based or biomimicry. She may have used the word biomimicry, but this stuff has been going on for thousands of years. And if you think about it, you know, we're a part of this European-centric dominated society, right? And so there were people on this continent, North America, before us, who were able to live more harmoniously with the natural world. I would argue that societies prior to these European dominant societies probably were a lot smarter than we are today in creating and using resources to achieve the needs of their population and their people, more so than we are today. Even though we may have a lot more technology, but have we been really smart and good stewards of the earth that we live in conjunction with that technology we've built? So I would say those societies were maybe a whole lot more advanced than we are today. So this woman has actually, in the sense of current history, coined these words, and she's been attributed to this world. But you know, she's actually just taking ideas from other people, okay, and nature in that matter. So she's not the first one, but she has some good insight. So I'll play her video.
Biomimicry is innovation inspired by nature. It's the process of looking at something like a leaf and trying to figure out how to make a better solar cell. It's become popular in the design disciplines, mainly, I think, because people are looking for more sustainable ways to do things. And organisms know how to do this. After 3.8 billion years, life has learned what works and what's appropriate on the planet. And right now, that's what the people trying to redesign our world are looking for. What we do in biomimicry is we bring in biologists to the design table. We look at how does nature contain liquids? How does nature repel water? So for instance, go outside, look at any leaf and the veins in a leaf, and what you're seeing is the world's best water distribution network. There's an amazing thing called the Murray's Law that says that all branching structures in the natural world, including our lungs, they all follow a single mathematical formula. And it has to do with the pipe branches, and it drops down to a smaller diameter, and then it branches again, and that drops down to a smaller diameter, and that's predictable. People in green building now are starting to say, well, maybe our 90-degree angles that we have in plumbing are really friction devices. Maybe we should distribute electricity differently in a building, water differently in a building, even gases, even air conditioning differently in a building by mimicking this Murray's Law in our plumbing. The most important thing that people should know is that a sustainable world already exists. We're just now beginning to open our eyes and realize that the answers to the questions we've been asking, how do we live here sustainably, are all around us.
All right, so that was, I was trying to remember her name because I bought her book because I had been reading, or I bought her Audible. I didn't read the book. Time to read. Her name is Janine Benyus. And so she's a researcher that has been working a lot in that field lately. And then this next video actually shows you an actual solution that some engineers have taken advantage of. And hopefully the commercial won't play this time. So I tried to stop it, but it may not. It may end up playing again.
Introducing Grove's line of plastic-free home cleaning products.
No commercials. Anyway, I'm gonna put this in the chat box too. It's in the presentation. All right. Can I play without being advertised? Oops. What can I say?
Your free gift set.
For all our reliance on human ingenuity, a number of scientists and engineers are learning design secrets that might be best described as second nature. Faith Saley shows what we mean.
Blink and you'll miss it.
The frog tongue is incredibly fast. It can reach accelerations up to 12 times the acceleration of gravity. To put that into perspective, astronauts going up into space experience 2 to 3 times the acceleration of gravity.
To catch a glimpse of a frog tongue in action, you have to be pretty sharp or determined, both of which might describe Alexis Noel, a bioengineer at Georgia Tech University.
So you can imagine these extreme accelerations that are happening to the insect as it's being yanked back into the mouth. And yet this adhesive on the tongue is still able to maintain a grip.
Noel's research into that sticky stuff, frog saliva, began when she stumbled across a video that had gone viral.
And I actually ran across this really funny video of this bullfrog trying to eat insects off of an iPhone screen. Of course, they're fake insects, and they're scrolling down the screen. We thought it was hilarious. And so we started asking these questions like, how is this frog tongue so fast and so sticky? And like, how does it catch these insects in the blink of an eye? Being a mechanical engineer and dabbling in fluid mechanics, we're like, oh, this is a really interesting adhesive question.
Noel hopes that understanding the mechanics of frog saliva could lead to the development of futuristic adhesives. And if that seems far-fetched, then welcome to the world of biomimicry, where scientists look to nature for innovations. The shape of Japan's bullet train, for instance, was inspired by the shape of a kingfisher's beak. These windmill blades were modeled after the fins of a humpback whale. But the most ubiquitous biologically inspired innovation of all might be in your closet. In 1941, Swiss engineer Georges de Mestral went for a hike in the Alps and noticed the way burrs adhered to his clothing. Today, the hook and loop fastening system most of us call Velcro is used in thousands of products.
It's actually a new way of inventing. And so chemists and designers and architects and engineers, when they have a problem, they ask what in nature has already solved this problem.
If there's one person to thank for the popularity of biomimicry, it would be Janine Benyus.
You know, the core idea is that life's been on Earth 3.8 billion years, and that's a lot of R&D.
Benyus popularized the term 2 decades ago in her book.
You know, NFL helmets are based on how the woodpecker's skull.
What?
Yeah, the woodpecker has a very particular skull and beak
Just
arrangement.
spend some time at her home in Montana, and you get the sense nature has taught her to see the world a little differently.
When I look at a tree, I think now that it's pretty amazing chemistry operation going on, right? Silently. Once you start thinking this way, you realize that nature is full of technologies. If you think of technologies as just tools for living.
But while the scientific field might be new, there's nothing new about being inspired by nature.
We need new ideas, you know,
But what you're saying is the newest ideas are the oldest ideas.
That's, you know.
And they've been there all along.
Exactly.
By one estimate, biologically inspired innovations could contribute $425 billion to the country's gross domestic product by 2030.
You put porcupine quills in your face.
Yeah, as an example, I mean, what we like to do from time to time some self-experimentation and really get a sense for, you know, what it is that we're working with.
It was porcupine quills that pointed scientist Jeff Karp towards a new design for a medical staple.
So it was known at the time that quills have these backwards-facing barbs. When you try to remove the quill, the barb catches on the tissue fibers and then kind of displays out to the side, so it's even grabbing even more. And that's where it gets its incredible gripping force. And so this gave us inspiration for a new staple.
At his lab in Boston's Brigham and Women's Hospital, Karp is creating new medical devices using some old technology, very old technology. Slug slime was a starting point for a medical glue that works in wet environments.
This is incredibly strong. It's holding bone together.
The way jellyfish tentacles fan out to ensnare plankton inspired a filter to capture cancer cells in blood.
There's literally, you know, hundreds of millions of years of research and development that's happening all around us. And if a creature or a plant is not able to come up with a solution, then it becomes extinct. And so, in essence, we're surrounded by solutions, which I see as ideas for solving problems.
Can our technologies be as elegant and as graceful as those in the natural world? And if we hold ourselves to that standard, if we literally take the natural world as our standard, it really ups our game. I mean, it's something to aspire to, but it already exists.
All right, so I'm gonna end.
We know you've got your hands full at home.
All right, so on Wednesday, what I'm going to do, you guys have started and gotten into Tinkercad, hopefully, and what I have that's due on Friday. So everything in my class is always due Friday. That's the way I frame it. I don't really do asynchronous Friday work. I never did. I was not doing it. I just made everything due on Friday. time for that. So you all have, I'd like for you to think about some ideas about how you could, what solution you could potentially make. And I have a link in here about constraints and technical, like what would it take to do it, and making it, what would it take, how would you market it, you know, how much would it cost, is that feasible, is it really great for the environment? I'd like for you to think about an idea you've already come up with and give me some criteria and some constraints for that idea, and then you'll turn that in for this, for 25 points. And this video series of videos should help you in your 3-dimensional modeling, and then you'll actually turn your model in for 100 points. This actually assignment is starting the conversation and getting you to look at, like, I would like for you to answer these like 5 questions about how could you potentially create something called a corridor, and we'll go over this on Wednesday more in depth. So about Cypress Creek in the area we're trying to preserve, and you'll be done. You'll turn your model in. I'll put a rubric in here today, and then I'll also create a folder. I think I'll just do a module, and this will be class recordings by the day. So I'm gonna try to record, I'm gonna store them here. So I'll have a class recording module, and I'll store and put in the class recordings in this module for those of you who are absent or miss for the week. All right. Okay, guys. So hopefully this will get us started, and then I will see you all on Wednesday. Be safe out there and take care. If you got any questions, hang out. I'll be around for a little bit.
See me, Wallace.
All right. See you later, Jara. Bye. Bye. Bye.
I have a blessed day.
Bye.
Miss Holly,
Yes.
I got a question.
Yes, I'm here. Yes. What's up?
So, are we supposed to be doing the what is it? The the nature-based solution and stuff?
So you're gonna pick one nature-based solution that you all came up with, or biomimetic solution, and you're gonna model what that looks like. And
using Tinkercad?
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully, cross fingers, this works. So I know we had a hard time with the chair at the beginning of the year, but I was like, I'm still doing this. So hopefully with the tutorials, hopefully with the videos, and hopefully by you guys looking at the gallery and trying to manipulate stuff that's already on that gallery to show how a potential solution could work, that will help you. And if you go in the gallery and search for maybe parks or something like that, that may be a good place for you to start, to have like a background, and then you can like put your solution inside of that park. Like, if that, let me show you, like if you go in here and say, go to your gallery and search park, P-A-R-K. Let's see if somebody's designed a park already. So looks like I wonder, can I change this? Nope, no derivative. I don't want a roller coaster. Let's see. That one picture keeps coming up. I could maybe take this. I don't know. It's like I can copy and tinker. I could change the colors around. Instead of it being yellow, make it green. Expand the board out. Change these colors around. So So make it green, so it's grass. And then I'm gonna move this around. Maybe this is something that you could show your Venus flytrap here, and then maybe you might want to think about even, I'm gonna change that to green. Thinking about ways you could, you know, maybe this could be like your foundation for adding more nature-based, like the community garden here, and then your Venus flytrap over here that would you could use to help encourage people to keep their area clean. Does that make sense, Mackenzie?
Yes.
Yeah, try to use some of the gallery work if you can. If you want to upload new images, there's an import function, but you got to make sure it's a STL, OBJ, or SVG file. And you can only do it up to 25 megabytes. That's your constraint. So that makes it hard sometimes when you're looking online for free stuff. Okay, because you can like bring in images that somebody else has already made and put it into your model. All righty. Or you can make your own model. You can make your own images too.
So is this like, okay, so I know like people, they've been asking about like groups and stuff. So is there a way to see like what group you're in? Is it on Canvas?
You're not going back to those old groups anymore.
Okay.
I'm mixing you up again. I'm gonna mix y'all up with the 10th graders. I'm trying to get them caught up, and then you guys starting, and then hopefully from there we can move forward. Okay. Anything else?
That was
All right, thanks. All righty, see you guys later. Bye, Paris. Bye, Kennedy. Do y'all have any questions? Cannon, questions, anybody? Questions. All right. I am going to stop recording, and then I'm going to save this.